Hello, today is Tuesday, October 13th, 2020, and I'm doing this video. My name is Joanne Marie Rumford in Port Huron, Michigan. I'm doing this video because this morning via FedEx I ordered through Walmart.com a movie, 1980 movie called Somewhere in Time. There's the front of it, the back of it, and it's a 1980 movie. Came out in October in theaters. 1980 is what Internet Movie Database says. It's actor Christopher Reeve and actress Jane Seymour is in it, and I've never seen the movie, but I have a story about 1980. Around the time the movie came out in the fall of 1980, I traveled to my mom's homeland in Dublin, Ireland, with my aunt. Maureen, or not Maureen, but my Aunt Maureen Stanley and her brother, and my mom's brother, Uncle Jack Stanley, still lived at their childhood home in Dublin, Ireland at 14 Church Avenue, South Circular Road. And I flew over from Metro Detroit with my Aunt Phyllis Stanley Lamy and her three daughters, Maureen Lamy Kirchenbauer and Patricia, or Pat, Lamy Rose, and Joyce Lamy, the three sisters. And also that came with us was my Aunt Phyllis' husband Ben's niece. I forgot her name. But anyways, when we landed in Shannon Airport we flew out of Metropolitan Airport in Detroit, Michigan. They went on and toured by car Ireland, while I went on to England for a week to visit my two uncles, my Uncle Robert Stanley and his wife Louise, and my other uncle Patrick Ben Stanley, called him Ben, and his girlfriend Bobby Cornell. And when I was in England the week, the weather was perfect. It was nice out, sunny. I toured one day by myself down by Buckingham Palace and Bloody Tower and Big Ben clock. And then Uncle Ben and Bobby took me to Pinewood Studios, where he used to work. He was retired. He worked at Pinewood Studios in a stage production. I used to work on the James Bond movies. This is 1980, right, that I was there. When Sean Connery was James Bond. And he also worked in the Superman movies. One Superman movie, it might have been the first one, I think it was, came out, I'm not sure what year it came out, but Christopher Reeve was in it, and Margot Kidder, the actress in the movie, gave my uncle a bottle of brandy after they finished the movie. So anyways, she's passed on, actress Margot Kidder. So is Christopher Reeve, that's in this movie Somewhere in Time. He's passed on. And all my aunts and uncles have passed on. My other aunt, Esther Stanley Oliver, she passed on much earlier than my other aunts, and my mom has passed on. My mom, Vera Stanley Rumford. I think I've named all the aunts and uncles. I don't want to leave anybody out. And so when I came back from England to Ireland, I stayed at Drumlin Castle. And I rented a car at Shannon Airport, and they were going to give me a stick shift, and I said I can't drive a stick shift, so they gave me an automatic, and it cost me $100 more. And that's another story. I paid it off my husband's credit card, and it cost $500 to rent the car for 2 weeks, which he was really upset when I came back, and he got the bill in the mail saying that he owed $500 to the airport, or to the car agency. So anyways, we lived in Rochester Hills, Michigan, my husband and I. So when I went to pick Mom up, I stayed at Drumlin Castle the next by myself that night. It was at night, and the door opened up in my room all of a sudden, and I kind of freaked me out because I thought to myself, well, how did the ghosts, and the window was open, so I was thinking maybe that's why the wind blew open the door inside. But the next morning I got up, it was really dark outside, and I went to start the car, and the car wouldn't work, so the Drumlin Castle employee came out and helped me start it. So I got on my way, and it was so dark out, I could see the signs, but they were pointing every direction. And I had to stop at this little house, and this young man opened the door, and he was half asleep, right? So I said, I'm sorry to wake you up, but can you point me in the right direction? Is it this way or that way to the airport? So he pointed in the right direction, and I got to the airport and got Mom. And then we went back to Drumlin Castle and stayed there overnight. So we toured the southern part of Ireland. And on the way to Dublin, Ireland, it was around the time, it was before, right after we went by the Kennedy Park dedicated after President John F. Kennedy. A cow jumped over the hedge. The land was higher above the ground, above the road, right? So I seen it coming through. I was on the left side driving. Mom was on the right passenger side of the car. And I seen it was in midair, the cow. And so what I did was I told Mom, I says, close your eyes real quick. I said, I'm going to brake. And so I pushed the brakes on real hard and stopped the car. We were going about 35 miles an hour. And it was a 2-lane road. And so when we stopped, the car stopped, we opened our eyes, and the cow was not far ahead of us walking away. I got a picture of it, but I don't have the picture now. I don't know what happened to it, but I do have a picture of the land above it, because when I got out and took the picture of the cow, I went over to where he jumped from the hedge, and I got a picture of that with other cows up there on the land. So, that was an experience. So that's why when we traveled through Kilkenny, instead of taking the coast, the Irish Sea, I didn't know what the terrain would be like. So instead of going along the coast of Ireland, we went to Kilkenny and then on to Dublin. So that was my fall vacation in 1980 with my aunt, but I didn't travel with my aunt and her daughters and her husband's niece. I wanted Mom to go there because it had been 40 years since she left England and Ireland. She was in London, England during the whole entire World War II, so I wanted her to go back to see her sister, Maureen Stanley, and her brother, Jack Stanley. And then her other two brothers, she stayed a month after I left, my mom, there in Dublin, Ireland, and her two brothers, Robert and Jack, came to visit her from England. So I wanted her to get back there because I didn't know if she'd ever get back there again, but she did. In 2004, my sister, Debbie Rumford Hughes, and her husband, Dale Hughes, took her to visit Aunt Maureen. This was the only one left living, and took her back there in 2004 on vacation. So she got to go back there again. But like I said, in 1980, it had been 40 years since she'd been back. So Uncle Robert had come over with Louise here to Canada in the States in the 1970s, and then my Uncle Ben came over, and we took him to Michigan, to where we lived, in Rochester Hills, Uncle Ben and his girlfriend Bobby, in 1980. So they came that summer in 1980, and we went over there in 1980 in the fall. So it was a nice visit, so that's the story. So this movie, Somewhere in Time, came out in 1980 in October, and I was in England and Ireland in 1980. And they filmed the movie when we went to Pinewood Studios. My Uncle Ben and Louise took me to Pinewood Studios. They were filming the movie, 1981 movie Dragon Slayer. So when my husband and I moved to Clearwater, Florida in 1981, I went to the theater and seen it in theater there. And I have a picture of the dragon when I was in the studio, and also my uncle holding two gargoyles that's in the movie. Let's see, my other uncle Robert and his wife Louise took me to Windsor Castle. And then we went on another, they took me somewhere else where they were having like carriages and horses and that, and sheep and dogs herding the sheep and that. I forgot, it was where the Prince Albert statue is in a park there. That's where it was. And they had this royal seating over, like in the distance, and I got pictures of that. I got lots of pictures, but now some of them are lost from moving so many times. I haven't moved that many times in my lifetime, but if you're not in one place for long enough, sometimes you don't have your memories as far as your pictures goes, or knickknacks or whatever that you've had when you were younger. So anyways, I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope I didn't leave anybody out in this video that I was talking about. And I guess that's it. So have a nice week. Yesterday was Columbus Day in the United States and Thanksgiving Day in Canada, October 12th, Monday, October 12th, 2020, and today is Tuesday, October 13th, 2020, and it is 12:40 p.m. Eastern Time in Port Huron, Michigan. So I'm having my coffee here, and kind of cold now. I got to heat it up in the microwave. Okay, have a nice day and have a nice week. It's beautiful out, the weather. Bye now.